Welcome back to Diary of a Medium Stories from the Spirit World podcast. And today I have a beautiful guest joining me all the way from Canada, and that's Shelley Murray. Shelley is a spiritual medium, certified yoga and meditation teacher, Reiki practitioner, wife, mother, old soul, and I think self-proclaimed crone, which in folklore actually means wise and powerful elder woman, just to make sure you get that right. Her heartfelt intention is to leave every person she connects with uplifted, enlightened, and empowered. She is easygoing, psychic medium, having always possessed her gift. She started reading tarot cards at 15 and a blossoming chrome with a lifetime of experience. She taps into spirit to illuminate, guide, and advise. Clients find her honest, accurate, and on point, where your heart has been touched in such an intimate way that only you, she, and spirit know. Welcome, Shelley. It's so lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much, Em. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share some time with you across the planet.
Yes, I know. Like across the world, it's like bedtime for you now, and it's midday for me here.
That's right. I'll
So
tuck
thank
myself
you.
in after we're done.
Thank you so much for finding some time for me so late in your day as well for us to connect. And you and I met through you found me through my practice group that I run, and we connected some time ago now. Was it near the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I found you just by chance, and I love the opportunity of being able to work with a very range of mediums from beginners to advanced and share that space. It's a
Yeah.
great opportunity for all sorts of people. Thank you for that.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much. And I guess we decided to get together to get, I guess we decided to get together today. That was a mouthful. That was a bit of a tongue twister because you actually reached out to me after I released my podcast episode about ethical mediumship and how sometimes readings can do more harm than good. So if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to that episode, have a listen to episode 19 so you know what we're talking about. And honestly, I was actually blown away when you reached out to me because you shared a story which was very personal to you with regards to you losing your husband and how you had actually had an experience at the time with a psychic medium that give you information that certainly was not healing and actually then had a profound effect, not in a good way, on the rest or years to come for you as well. And still, even now, and as we get into the story, that will start to uncover that information. And when you shared that with me, I know I straight away I said to you, I need you to come on the podcast and I need you to talk about this because I think this is a really important topic. Yeah. And you had mentioned that your husband Andrew passed away. He was just 29.
I
And
was
you know,
20,
you
he was 32.
okay, sorry. Okay, you were 29,
Close.
that's right.
He
And
was
he
32.
was even such a young age, right? And you shared with me that you had your two boys then, very young. I can't imagine, and thankfully I can't, to what that must have been like for you. Tell me a little bit about whatever you feel called to share about that particular time.
It's obviously been some time now. I've mourned him for many years, and I think I'll mourn him for the rest of my life. But yeah, I was a young
Yeah.
mom. I was 29. He was 32. We were, at the start of our lives, everything was happening for us. We had our two sons, 1 and 3. Preston was
Yeah.
3. Truman had just turned 1 days before he was killed. So he was
Mm.
killed by a drunk driver on the way home from work. And the shock and
Mm.
the tragedy of his age, of the situation, of losing the love of my life, everything, it was just devastating. And I would say, if I'm honest, things have never ever been the same since. So when you're
Yeah.
faced with such a devastating loss at such a young age, um, you're lost. You're just lost. I was lost. And so being myself and have always subdued those gifts to live a normal suburban Canadian life, good mom, be a good wife, be like that. I didn't really develop those gifts in the way that I obviously use them now. So after Andrew was killed, I thought, I think I want to go see a medium because I didn't know where he was gone. I was just like, where did you go? You go through the funeral, you go claim his body. All of the things that happened around his passing leave you with this feeling, where did he go? And so
Yeah.
I thought that I needed someone to help me find
Find where
that.
he was.
Find that.
That's so interesting that you share that in that way, isn't it? To think about that, like, where has he gone? He was here, now he's gone. And I know that a lot of our listeners who would have experienced loss would understand that feeling of like, where is he? And especially in such a tragic, quick way, because then there's no closure, is there? And I think a lot of people then seek out a psychic medium. We're psychic mediums ourselves, so we know that because we have people come to us that are deep in grief and they're, where are they? I'm trying to connect with them or find out where they are. And a lot of the time it's just because they want to know if they're all right as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had the knowledge of what mediums did, but I of course I didn't really understand it in the depths that I do now,
Do know.
and also to the existence of life after life. It was a seeking of the finality of him being killed and gone without a
Yeah.
moment. I What am I going to do with these kids? Like, how do I? What about the mortgage? Where do I live? What do I do? I was just so
Mm,
overwhelmed that I thought I'm going to go see a medium, and I did see a number of mediums that, when I reflect back on it, I think they've got a lot of nerve calling themselves mediums. And this is why this subject about ethics is so important to me. And I know it's
yeah.
very important to you too, is that people are so vulnerable in those moments of grief. And to take
Hmm.
advantage of somebody when they are at such a low point is a crime, in my opinion. And it's not
Yeah.
necessarily, I think in some countries it's a legal crime, but in my heart,
Mm,
it's a moral crime
yeah.
to take
Yeah.
advantage
And
of a
I
grieving
agree.
person.
I agree. And it's hard, isn't it? Because this is what gets this industry a bad name, if we want to say that, isn't it? It's people can have really great experiences, but have one bad experience and then it reflects on the
Yes.
whole industry. And especially because, as we know, with social media and stuff like that, there's a lot of these scams and
Yep.
AI things where they're in your inbox. I've actually had it happen to me, like
Mhm.
where I've had someone in my inbox saying, you've got a curse on you and you need to pay me money to remove the curse and
Yeah.
all of this thing. I've actually had it happen to me. And I'm like, dude, you're like
Yeah.
you're literally sending this to a psychic medium.
You
Like,
are barking up
you
the
know,
wrong tree. You are
yeah.
barking up the
But a
wrong
lot of the
tree.
time, yeah, a lot of the time it's all automated anyway. It's
Hmm.
not even a person behind it. And I think that's the hardest thing because then those kind of scam type things are feeding into that grief and vulnerability. And let's be honest, like I've lost a parent, I haven't lost, which I feel like it isn't diminishing that, but we expect that in our lifetime, right? That we're probably
We
going to lose
we
our
do.
parents.
We do, Em. But
Yeah.
I like to
Yeah.
say to my clients, it's not the grief Olympics. My
Yeah.
loss, your
Yes.
loss, everybody's
Yes.
loss.
Yeah.
You really can't quantify or qualify that for anyone. So
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. And you had said you had a number of readings.
tell you about the one that I really had stuck with me, and it's a little bit of a story, so I'll
No,
try
no,
not
that's
to
all right.
go
We got
on.
plenty of time.
Okay. I've been to some and not so great, whatever. And life goes on now because I had always had my own abilities, and it's an area and a genre of life that I believed in and I always sought out. So this wasn't unusual for me to be like, oh, I heard about so and so, maybe I'll go see them. So I went to this individual, and the first time I saw her, it was pretty much a psychic reading. I would say that it was a lot of psychic information. So it was okay. And then a year or two went by, and I decided to see her again because a friend wanted to go. So we went. So in this second reading, I had indicated to her that I was more interested in a mediumship reading, that I wanted to connect to my late husband. I wanted to know some guidance about my children. Like, what about my future? I'm a young widow. I was a young woman. I didn't really want to spend the rest of my life alone. So I'm having my reading, and she's telling me bits and bobs of this and that. But she says to me in this reading that you will marry again, you will be married. And he even described some of the that my future husband would do. And vague, but there was some aspect of it. And then she said the kicker, and that she said, "You will be a widow again. You will be a widow for a second time." And I was just like, you can imagine someone saying something like that to someone who had experienced the most traumatic experience of her life was she took my breath away. I was gobsmacked. I was just
Yeah, I can
unbelievable. I just
imagine.
sat there just like deer in the headlights. And she said, and he will pass in his 43rd year. 43rd year. Right. So I had recorded it. I had it recorded and off I went and lived my life. And it was there. It was always there. And life went on and I met my husband that I'm married to now. And life goes on. I get married and it's always back there, especially because some of the
Yes,
aspects of what she said about the work fit.
was the
And
same.
so I just left it back there. I left it back there and I held on to it in a way that I thought, I'm not going to tell anybody that she said that. I'm not going to think about it because if I think about it, I'm going to give it energy and it's going to happen. I sat with it and it was almost like rotting or festering because it was sitting inside me. And now this current husband of mine is younger than I am. So I
Hmm.
married a man considerably younger than I am, and he was younger than that age.
Yes.
So as life goes on and my husband is aging and hitting 40 and getting closer, I couldn't hold it anymore. It was like really
Yeah.
starting to impact my relationship, like how I was behaving, how I was impacting like my thoughts about what we should be doing or not doing, and thinking in my
Yeah.
head, I've only got this much time left. And it was really damaging, I would say. And like I said, every time I would think about it in detail, I would say to myself, stop feeding it energy, stop feeding it energy. And then I just thought, you know what? Forget it. I'm spitting this out. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is unethical. This is not the way it is. Mediums do not predict death of people. This is not the way this goes. And I'm taking the
Mm,
power back. I'm taking my power back about it. Now, he is now in his 43rd year. And
yeah.
I would be lying to you if I would say to you that I'm not wishing for August 5th to come quickly this year,
Wow.
because that's when he turns 44.
It
But
actually, I feel really emotional. I have to tell you, I actually know this story. I read this story when you sent it to me. So actually hearing you tell this story has actually really affected me emotionally. And I actually want to say I'm so sorry that you had to hold that because let's be honest. Yes, we can forget, we can put it at the back, but
Mhm,
that's been hanging in your energy field for how many years now?
long time. And the impact is the impact of my first loss impacted so many areas of my life, and not in a positive way. To rebuild your life and rebuild yourself after loss, I just felt that what, in retrospect now, when I think about it, I think it was cruel. I think it was unnecessary. I don't believe it.
No.
And I think it was really irresponsible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as a working medium, which I've been doing now for almost 30 years of reading people, I know that has impacted the way that I behave, the way that I speak, the information that I receive, the vernacular that I use to express
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We have a huge responsibility as as mediums, and I
Yeah.
think that sometimes the woo woo ness of this industry gets people excited, and they think, "Oh, I get some things, and I can do this, and look at me." There's so much.
Yeah.
You're We are in service to spirit. We're not in service to ourselves. And I feel that this woman was not in service to spirit when she gave me that reading.
Yeah, and the thing is, we have to remember, we just going full circle back to the beginning. We're dealing with people in compounded grief. Not only are you holding grief for yourself and the loss of your husband, you're holding grief for your children that just lost their dad. and how that impacts their life moving forward, and how now you have to be everything for them, which is very difficult when you are going through your own grief process as well. And I think that if there's something in what we're receiving, like predictive psychic work, I don't believe in that, because I believe that everyone has free will. That changes the timeline, and that's why I don't do that.
No, and I'm very clear with the client because
Yeah.
clients will ask, and I will say to
Yeah.
them, I can give you some information about this subject
Yeah.
that you're asking about, but you have
Yeah.
to understand this is a snapshot of time in this moment. Once you
Yeah.
hang up this phone or this FaceTime closes, that
Yeah.
energy's gone. I'm not,
Yeah.
you're in charge.
Yeah.
I'm not in
Yeah.
charge.
And yeah, it's disempowering. That's the thing. And I think that what we have to think about, and especially in this particular situation, is that medium gets to give that information and walk away. You didn't get that opportunity. You were given that information, and that information stayed with you and was in your energy field and held. And I can imagine, even like what you said, is that like my husband's in his 43rd year, like
Right
thinking
now.
about the fact that this is coming up, and I need it to be over, right? I need it to be over so that I
Yeah.
can just clear it. And it doesn't matter how good we are at ignoring things or going, it's
Mhm.
not true or
Mhm.
whatever. It's still there. Let's be honest. It's still there. It's like a mind fuck. That's what I want to say.
Yes.
I actually want to use that word, because I'm just like,
It really
and
is, though, because it doesn't matter. I can meditate it away. I can sit in the power for a million
yeah,
hours, but it still doesn't change the fact it's there. And
yeah,
that
that those words were said.
and it has impacted. It has absolutely
Yeah.
impacted. It's hard to live your life in your full truth when you're always holding your breath a bit. When there's always a
Yeah.
little bit of hesitation like this for the full expansion. And he and I went on to have a child. We have a child. I have a
Yes.
daughter with my current husband. And even the thought of that another one of my children will have to go
Yeah.
through some,
Through that.
it has been
It beggars
paralyzing at
belief.
times. It has been paralyzing. And I'm a strong woman, but the mind is a strong thing. And
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
been a trip. So when I think about my own mediumship, and I think that's one of the reasons why I was drawn to you when I first heard you and listened to you. And I thought, she's real. She's not giving off all this woo woo crap. She's not all blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. I really felt that you were grounded and realistic
Hmm.
in your
Yeah.
mediumship. And that's what I really respected about you, and why I wanted to be part of your group there. And I see with your students, sometimes when I'm working with your students and we're doing those exercises or the practice, I can see how they are being taught this ethical way of mediumship. And I just want
Mm.
to say I really admire you for that, because there's so much out there that's not. And
Yeah.
you are leading the pack in that regard. When I was
Yeah. Thank you.
when I was first going into be a medium, not just reading people, not just reading tarot cards. When I thought I really want to hone my craft, and if I'm going to do this, I had 2 years of dark night of the soul where I had to decide: am I going to give up my corporate life,
Yeah.
which was good money, good
Yes.
money, and am I going to do this? And can I do this? Am I good enough? All of the things that most mediums will go through at the beginning of their journey. And
Yeah.
I had that kind of dark night of the soul, and I had prayed about it and meditated on it. And then I finally said to Spirit, okay, if this is going to happen for me, I'm going to make a deal with you, which is ridiculous because you can't make deals with God. But I said,
I've made deals with spirit.
you
Yeah.
really? So I said, I'm going
I
to make a
have.
deal with you. I will never advertise. I'll never have a web page. I'll never advertise. You will send me people. I will always work through word of mouth. And then the
Mhm.
second part of the deal was I will always donate a portion of my earnings. I commit to
Mm.
that. And I prayed,
Yeah.
and then I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a go. If I get it, I'm going to do it. And if I don't, I'm going to work corporate. And that was in my early 30s, and I'm 61 now, and I've never
Get out
advertised.
of here.
I'm telling you, I worked through word of mouth, and I've
Yeah.
always donated, like I said I would. And
Yeah.
I just, over all these years, have developed such a beautiful connection with with spirit for me
Mm.
that I no longer doubt any of that. And that brings me full circle to saying, I haven't told you this, but since I
Mm.
first told you about this experience, I phoned that
Mm-hmm.
woman. I phoned her.
Did you?
I found her number and I phoned her. And I said to her, I need to talk to you about something that happened many years ago. I told her. She said,
Yes.
oh, did I? And I said, yeah, you did. And my husband is 43. He turns 44 on August 5th. And I'm telling you, this has not been a good thing. You should never have said that to me. She said, oh, I must have just felt something at the time.
Wow. Wow. I
I
must
have
have
no
just felt
words.
something at the time. Yeah, that just rendered me speechless, which is very unusual for me. Yeah. And yeah. it- and this is the thing, right? I just felt something, but what you actually felt, just because you felt it doesn't mean that you should say it.
Say it.
And I think that is what ethical mediumship. I made a deal with spirit, and I made a deal with spirit that when I started in this space as well, I remember saying, okay, whatever you tell me, whatever you put in my head that you want me to do, I'm going to just say yes. I'm going to do it. It put me in some uncomfortable positions, but I did it. But I think the biggest thing for me as well is that what if she felt that, but what she felt was actually different to what she said? And I think not all information, although I do trust spirit and I say, whatever you give me, I know that it's for the good of my client and that they need to hear it in a way that's acceptable, right? That's in a way that is healing.
I think what you're saying is discernment. And the
Discernment,
discernment
100%. Yeah.
is it's not a given. You need to
No,
learn, practice, and hone the skill of discernment because
I
you
agree.
it's
Yeah.
the same thing as like when we say to our children, it's not what you're saying, it's the way you're saying it.
Yep.
Don't
Yeah.
use that
100%.
that tone.
Is it kind? Is it
Mm,
thoughtful? Is it
mhm,
healing?
mm.
And I think that this is the biggest thing is for me is, am I going to leave my sitter, my recipient, the person that's booked with me? Am I going to leave them in a better place if I say this or not? And then
Absolutely.
making the discernment of, does this need delivering, or does this need delivering in a certain way? You know?
Exactly. And this what I find too is that I do platform work at my local spiritualist church.
Yes.
And that's another place where you must have discernment and the
Yeah.
delivery, that your delivery, whether you're in a private reading, whether you're in a gallery, whether you're in a group practice, wherever you are, the delivery is so important. And I remember
Mm.
in the beginning, I studied under a tutor from Arthur Finley by the name of Simon James. Ever heard
Mhm.
of him? Amazing teacher, amazing man. And the
Yeah.
first lecture I ever went to, I was so like, ooh, green. And he said, every time you open your mouth, you are representing the spirit world. You need to remember that.
Mm.
And I feel so
Yeah.
blessed. That was my first kind of lesson because that's something that I've held on to all these
Yes.
years is that when I open this mouth, what I'm saying is representing God, spirit, divine, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You are representing that. And quite honestly, there is a reverence and a respect in that that I need to be very mindful of how
Yeah.
that comes out. And I feel that when that woman did that to me,
Yeah.
I don't feel she had any of that.
Well, yeah, no, because at the end of the day, it didn't support your healing in where you were, did it? It actually added or impacted the grief that you were holding. Imagine if you had just decided that actually now I know that information, I don't want to get married again because I
Yeah.
can't go through that.
Yeah.
You
I wouldn't have
know,
my daughter.
like,
I wouldn't have my daughter.
yeah, you wouldn't have your daughter. You would have then denied yourself that love from
Mhm,
someone
mhm,
else in the risk of losing that love. Let's
mhm.
be honest, like when you've gone through something that you've gone through, the thought that you may have to deal with that again is probably beyond
Well,
comprehensible.
and I should add this, to let you know this because it compounds it even more. My husband's a police officer.
Yeah.
In Canada this week, 2 officers have been killed in the line of
Yes, I did
duty,
see that.
and you
Mm.
did see that, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Of course. And then there it is again, right? There's that thing that you've pushed down, that you've tried to forget, that was said
the
to
fear,
you. There, the fear. Yeah. There, it's at the forefront again, isn't it?
and
Living that fear.
fear can be so insidious in that sense
Absolutely.
of how it can permeate your mind and plant its little hooks in there. And
Mm.
I did call her. I felt after I spoke to you and I knew that I was going to be
Wow.
coming on this podcast, I called her. I found her, found the number, found her. I called her and I took it back. I kind of took it back.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel empowered by having done that and her being so
Yeah.
completely unaccountable. She didn't even
Yes.
apologize, completely unaccountable,
Mm-hmm.
lack of
Yep.
accountability. But I would be lying to you, Em, if I didn't say to you at August 5th, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to this August 5th.
Forward to
And
that.
then we'll
Yeah. Yeah.
be done
100%.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get it. I totally get that, because then it transmutes, doesn't it? The date's over, the time's over. And good on you for bringing that forward as well. And even if you didn't get an acknowledgement from her, you were able to speak your part of that. And coming back around to ethical mediums, that's what we want. That's why good training's important. That's why it's good to have a good mentor, someone who can guide you in the right direction and understand. I even talk about how at the beginning of my journey, I was so open that I would be, in places receiving messages for people and feel obliged to, oh no, I have to tell them, I have to give these messages, because I didn't actually know any better. I'd never had anyone say to me, hey, listen, that's like going through someone's phone or going through their handbag, or it's imposing yourself in their space. I was just like, oh, this is happening to me. This must be what I have to do.
I did
Like,
that too.
I didn't know. Yeah. We were green. We didn't know that until you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah. The lady at the salad bar that I felt I had to tell her that the baby that was coming was a girl, and she did not receive it well. And
yes. And and exactly. And I've talked about that as well. I have had luckily every instance that happened to me, which was maybe 3 or 4 times, it was received okay. But once I really realized that you don't know where people are, you don't know what they're going through, and you can't just go and dump information on people. That it's like unsolicited advice, right?
yes, can't know what
You don't know. Yeah. And I think that's why, in all fairness, that's why I ended up actually getting a mentor. I'd done some small courses, but I ended up doing that because I was like, this is happening to me and I don't know what to do with it. And I'm not sure how I can stop what's happening all of the time. And I needed to understand it. And that's why I ended up going on that journey myself, which was life-changing, to then get someone and work with them.
It is important, I think, to have that leadership and those mentors. And because at the beginning of a journey, it's like the Wild West, and you don't understand how to control. Now spirit's always in charge, of course, but you are the vessel, and you need to learn how to control the vessel. And I think that with a ethical medium, mentor, or person of leadership, or somebody that is there to aid you, really figure out whether that person is ethically where you want to be, because those early lessons are going to stay with you for the long haul. Just like I said, for me, with Simon James, I was many years ago, and I haven't been back with him since, but I'll never forget him.
What he said, definitely.
And I see, like I said, I know I'm repeating myself, but I am saying I have seen that. I've heard you with your students. I've seen the way that you operate, and though I just admire you for that. I just want to let you know that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think I had to go through a number of things to come out the other end of this. And I think that always learning, we're always a student. I love being the student. I love always still learning different people's philosophy and what they stand for, and understanding that everyone is different in that. I Because it's interesting because you were like, oh, spirit are always in charge. Okay, so I see that a little bit different, which is good. And I think that it's interesting because I think it's a 50-50 relationship.
And I find that interesting. Do tell.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So
Yeah.
for me, it's spirit are never in charge of me. And I think it's our philosophy is the same, right? Only you're saying you're in charge of the vessel. And it's the same thing. It's just I'm saying it in a different way.
Yes.
We're not about to go up to someone and go, I've got to tell you this because spirit told me I have to. That's for me, that's disempowering because I'm in charge of what that piece, the vessel piece.
The sad thing about that is that because, and again, no disrespect to her because everybody's doing their own thing, but I think about Teresa Caputo, who basically ambushes people. She's got Vinny in the deli. Your father wants to tell me he doesn't want you to sell the car. Like,
no, but I love her because you know why? It's not, she's not even doing that because it's all set up. They're already mic'd, they already have permission. It's for entertainment value. So I'm always like, I know what you're saying. It's set up to look like she's doing that. Yeah.
And I just think that the longer you read, the closer your connection to this spirit gets, that you understand the subtlety, the very subtlety of it and the nuance. And that really, when you have the good foundation, you have the foundations of honesty and ethics and all of the good things.
Yeah.
I just feel that your mediumship and your delivery becomes so I think that's what I'm saying when I say so personalized and so one-on-one that it's an intimate conversation between I always say to my clients, this is the holy trinity for me, you, me, and spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I will also say it's the only threesome I'll ever do.
Oh, I've never heard that before. That's interesting. Yeah, it's so true. Funny. Oh, that's so funny. But yeah, I think for me, at the beginning, I felt like when I was doing that sort of stuff, because I didn't know any different.
I know you would know, and most would know if I'm socializing or someone finds out, oh, Shelley's a medium, and they'll come up to me, feel anything? Are you getting anything off me and anything? And
Is there anyone here?
I say to them, you know, if I was a dentist, you wouldn't ask me to look in your mouth. I said, I'm not open now. I'm not working. I'm not with spirit right now. I'm just with you.
I'm just me. Yes.
Yeah.
I say that now as well. I'm like, oh no, I'm switched off. I'm just me. And they're like,
tell me, what have you got? What have you got? What can you feel? Can you feel? It's a very interesting life. And mediums, we come to realize that it chose us. We didn't choose it. And I think that there is I do believe there are differences, and there's the level of what I would call the woo, the hitting, the fast hits, and then I feel like there's a different level. And I feel like myself, I feel like you, I feel like other people I know, that we will be in the long run. I feel like we'll be old ladies and we'll still be having clients and seeing people. And I think that it's a beautiful gift. And if you recognize that it's a life, like it's a life soul purpose, I think you give more time to developing your ethical, more your integrity, your morality, your ethics, who you are as a person. How it's
and also and it's also just the impact that you want to have on people. Come into your world, how do they want to feel when they leave your space? Like how do you want them to feel? What do you want them to feel empowered? Do you want them to feel like they've got closure? Do they want to feel like they have hope? I think that is the longevity of definitely this work and being in service in a way that is healing. And I'll beat the drum on this, that mediumship is a healing modality. I say it all the time. I don't believe that where we just need to be good at reading or we do readings for people. I just don't I don't have that angle at all. Like if you come into my world, whether you're a student of mine and you're going to end up healing a lot of your own shit, you're coming in as a client and you're leaving my reading feeling moved.
I do a circle on a Wednesday night, like a live circle in my home with a small group of mediums. And last night I decided to do an exercise where a friend brought someone that none of us knew. We don't know anything about her.
Hmm.
We don't know about her loss. Basically a guinea
Yep.
pig. And she came, and I wanted to do an exercise where we sit in the power for a few minutes. Then whoever gets the first link, I wanted all the mediums to link in a group
Hmm.
link. And then I wanted
Yep.
everyone to give to the recipient, the sitter, without repeating. And I'll tell you, spirit is so incredibly intelligent. The intelligence of spirit is beyond our understanding. This woman came, and when she first came in, she was hunched over, ashen, sad, everything. After all of us went through with the connection of her person, I'm not going to get it too
Hmm.
personal because of confidentiality.
Yeah.
When we came through with all the details of her person, by the end of the evening, she was sitting up, she was smiling, she was laughing, and she sent a
Mm.
text today saying that she felt the love of and she felt healed. And I
How
thought,
beautiful is that?
that's what we're doing, Em. That's what we're doing.
That's what we.
That's what it's all about. And
Yeah.
if you can, I believe, if you can keep your, like I said, your integrity, your morals, your ethics, if you can keep all of that at the forefront of your mediumship,
Yeah.
everything else just comes. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about if I'm good enough or whether I can do this
Yeah.
or whether I can do that. Those
Yeah.
qualities in your soul expression
Yeah.
will allow space
And
for all the gifts of mediumship, all the gifts of
yeah.
spirit. I
Because,
believe.
when we're, because when we're spirit led, then we don't have to worry about anything else.
Yes.
Like you say, we just have to be in service to them in that time that we're connected and open to receiving that information.
And
I love this chat.
I'm saying that to you. And when I live by that and I believe that, and that's how I read and that's the way I work. But I'm also saying to you that a message that someone gave me, a medium gave me, wormed its way into my consciousness and planted a seed
Yeah,
there. So I'm
absolutely.
human. I'm human.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%. In that part of that is that balance, isn't it? That we were just talking about
Yeah.
at the end of the day as well. So, if we want to wrap this up, I'd love to ask you if there's one thing that you could share with someone that's maybe just stepping into this space, they're looking to maybe develop a bit more of their mediumship and the beginning to read for others around things like ethics, responsibility, like impact. What is the one thing that you would say?
I think that I would say and I do say to developing young mediums, I say the first thing is trust yourself and trust spirit.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that surrender is an easy word to say, but a much, much deeper thing to actually
Yeah.
embody. So I would say trust and surrender. I would say
Yeah.
that always treat your mediumship, your client, your time, yourself with reverence and respect because you are literally embodying the mouth of God. And you need to
Mm.
remember the holiness of that. And I'm not getting religious, but I'm saying the sacredness
Yeah.
of the work has to be
Yeah.
the lead in. And like I said, trust yourself. Trust. Do a class with them.
I love that. And that's right. And it isn't about religion, but it is about the sacredness of the work, that whether that's source, universe, God, whatever that is for you, it's really about understanding yourself on a level that allows you to understand other people as well. And to do this work, we have to uncover a lot of our own shadows, get out of our own way by uncovering those shadows along the way. I think that's what really makes our soul open up more. Certainly me, for my journey, was getting all of my stuff out. And it's always an onion. There's always layers. There's always something else that you need to look at. But
Well,
I
I would say
think,
to you,
yeah,
personal therapy
personal growth and yeah.
personal growth, personal therapy, however, whatever way you figure it out,
Yeah.
is imperative.
Yeah.
It's imperative. It's part of the journey. You have to have the self-awareness to be
Yeah. Working on yourself to work with spirit.
to do it for sure. I think that it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful thing. And if you are called and you believe that you can connect and you can give the gift and you have that in your heart and on your soul to do it, I just say go
Yeah,
for it. Go for it.
definitely.
There's somebody for everybody. There's a medium for
Mm.
everybody. There's a spiritual person for everybody. And you don't need to get about what about meism, because you're the perfect expression of medium for the people that come to you. I'm the perfect
Yeah,
expression for the people that come to me. They're the perfect expression. And I think that
100%.
we have to make sure that we don't get into competition and we start to get worried about
Yeah.
hierarchies. There's enough for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I always say this, I'm not the mentor for everyone. And there's definitely a mentor out for you there, like you said, for everyone. And I think also the discernment of choosing a mentor, listening to different people, going to different classes, see what people are saying. Does it resonate? Does the language they're using resonate with you? All of those things are really important as well when you're choosing someone to walk the path with as well. So
There's just also too that fact that you will meet lots of different people on your journey.
you will.
And
Yeah, definitely.
everybody's going to deposit something and give you nuggets that you will keep and you will cherish. And some things over time you might throw it away and you might get something
Yeah.
new. But it's an evolution. We're always evolving in our mediumship and never get stuck. I would say don't get stuck.
Yes, that's why I'm always a student. Yeah.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Shelley, for this chat. I have loved having you here. And if you want to connect more with Shelley, I will be her word of mouth today.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I will share her details in the show notes of where you can find her. And I just wanted to say thank you so much again, Shelley, for staying up late, having this chat with me. I love real, raw chats. And I know that my audience will get a lot out of what you shared in your journey with us today. So,
Thanks,
all righty.
Thanks,
You're so
You're
welcome.
awesome. Okay. Have a great day. I'm going to go to bed. So,
Sweet dreams. Bye.
okay. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Diary of a Medium, Stories from the Spirit World. If something in today's episode has sparked something within you and you are curious about your own spiritual gifts, then check out my website on how I can support you. If you have your own story to share, then please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to support me, you can subscribe, leave a review, or simply share this with a friend. So until next time, trust yourself, trust spirit, and keep listening to the whispers from the universe. Bye for now.